Welcome to episode 4 of Managing University Life. This episode is about research and reasoning.
One of the unpleasant facts of academia is that books and academic journals need to be paid for. And part of your university tuition goes towards paying for the university library to buy books and subscribe to journal databases. It makes sense that if you're paying for something anyway, you should use it. Lazy students usually run to the search engines in Daum, Naver or Google to find websites for information for projects or papers. That's not wrong, but these are websites which are designed to give general information, and much of it comes from popular media sites, paid advertisements, and social media postings. Learning to research like a university student will require you to go deeper than this. And there are two websites which will provide you with excellent sources. One is Google Scholar, and the other is your university library website. Google Scholar even tries to find out where you are using your computer. And if you use it on campus, it will try to give you articles and books which are associated with the university library's database subscriptions. For example, Hanyang subscribes to the JSTOR database, and if you use Google Scholar on campus, it will show you articles which you can access for free from that database. All you have to do is click on the PDF. 30 years ago, this process required students to go to the library and search through thousands of pages of periodical indexes and then find the related journal copy. Now, just click on the PDF. The university library website is, of course, specific to your own university. Hanyang's library site has multiple languages, and once you log in, you can again use its search function to find thousands of journal articles or online books to help you with your class project or paper.
Some of us professors remember as recently as 10 years ago, plagiarism wasn't taken as seriously in Korean universities as it is now. It is now taken more seriously as an academic crime. As well as over the last 10 years, Korean universities have become more respected in world rankings and conferences. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Plagiarism is not using someone else's words and ideas in your paper. It is using those words and pretending that you created them. It isn't theft in a physical sense of an object or even a file, but rather intellectual theft, the stealing of someone else's work. It isn't always easy to define plagiarism. If you quote common knowledge that everyone knows, that's not plagiarism, as it's obvious that you didn't make it. Usually facts or popular history is common knowledge. But if you found special information or an opinion in a source which everyone doesn't know, such as an internet site or a book or magazine, and you print it as your own writing, that's plagiarism. How to prevent it? Give credit to the source. You can reuse other people's words freely, and there's no problem, as long as you say so. Note that if you paraphrase the text in your own words, it might still be plagiarizing because you are stealing someone else's ideas. How to prevent it? Again, give credit to the source. A secret about professors: we don't necessarily dislike students who get bad grades, really. But most of us really don't like plagiarizers because they are essentially liars. Don't plagiarize and don't try to tell others that you didn't know it was wrong. And really, plagiarism is an easy monster to kill. All you have to do is give credit. One of the things that frightened me as I grew up was learning that adults don't know everything, and they can be scared too. I'm sure AI will have good uses, but right now many older people worry they'll lose their jobs, and probably many young people like you worry that you'll never get one. Jordan Peterson in Canada has predicted that 1/3 of universities will be in financial trouble within the next 5 years because of AI, as many students give up on degrees with no career futures. I'm not sure it's that bad, and we may find that AI has hard limits, but it is intimidating. I think the only optimistic prediction I can make is that pretty well every technological innovation of the last 2 centuries that killed jobs also created new and different ones. In particular, I'm sure things will change in this department, university, and Korea in the light of AI platforms like chatbot. It's a strong temptation for students to cheat on their papers or homework, and probably some career types of writing, such as business or technical writing, will disappear when AI does it better. It's maybe my bias as an English professor, but I do disagree with the idea that AI makes the humanities worthless, and everyone should learn how to code. Yes, there is value in students doing computing or robotics degrees, but AI knows how to code faster than humans do. But AI can't tell you what should be coded or why.
Professors are human beings, most of them, and many of them worry that their jobs will be dominated by AI software.
Many of them worry about students cheating by using chatbot or other programs to create assignments. Again, the point of you being a university student is not to make the assignment. That is not the end goal, but to learn how to make the assignment. Just as you don't join a gym so that you can learn how to lift dumbbells on the street. You work out so that you can use your muscles for other purposes. AI software will probably do some things very well, but AI, at least presently, is very poor at knowing why something is important or how to explain or convince people that something is important. We'll speak more about higher orders of thinking and Bloom's taxonomy in a moment, but for now, we'll stress again that much of a humanities education is about thinking and communicating. Your assignments of the future may involve more group work and multimedia or digital projects, which emphasize convincing or justifying the information you have created or assembled. In short, This is rhetoric, the art of persuasion, and it has been one of the cornerstones of Western education for 24 centuries. These challenges will probably change many classroom activities. A typed essay, for example, is more than conveying the information. A writer also needs to think about how the information is arranged and how best to explain and present the text so that the reader understands and is convinced. An audio or video project or presentation also needs to be somewhat audience-focused as opposed to merely presenting information, something we'll discuss more in episode 6 on communication. Some of the skills you may need to improve in college and beyond are the writing and arrangement of your material, but you may also need to work on your technical skills. Making presentations by recording a Zoom session, for example, often results in poor quality video and audio because the session is streamed. This reduces audience understanding and confidence in your project. Learning to use proper microphones, to make effective slides, and to edit sound and video are still valuable skill sets. No one knows what AI might do someday, but again, at present, it is poor at making choices regarding why and how to communicate with your audience. For now, your assignments are seen and reviewed by humans who have feelings. If your audio is fuzzy or full of wind noise, the project will seem amateurish. If you submit a great project and it's a Hangul Word file that your foreign professor can't open, or it's a 10 gigabyte video file that crashes your professor's email account, it may be for nothing. The good news is, humans have feelings, and helping people still feels good and has value.
Throughout this video series, we've tried to communicate several key concepts to you. One is the principle that one of the differences between high school and college is the role of active learning. Active learning means that you take on the responsibility of engaging with ideas and facts yourself, rather than merely memorizing what your teacher says. In his book Permanence and Change, philosopher Kenneth Burke wrote that thinking which does not include thinking about thinking is merely problem solving, an activity carried out very well by fish. University students hear a lot of talk about the importance of thinking, but you may not hear much about how we think or what types of thinking we do. We're going to remedy that by talking about thinking about thinking. U.S. educator Benjamin Bloom is famous for his research on the taxonomy of thought, which attempts to categorize levels of human thinking into 6 levels of cognitive reasoning. Let's use it to think about apples. Knowledge is the first level. Someone thinking at a knowledge level might ask, what are the health benefits of eating apples? This information is purely factual answers. The second level is comprehension. As an example, you might compare the benefits of eating apples to eating oranges. This is moving beyond the level of simply knowing things to being able to understand them. The next level, level 3, is application. What kinds of apples are best for baking a pie? Here, again, you're moving from knowing things and understanding them to using them. The fourth level is analysis. Describe 4 ways of baking pies. Here we're taking parts of information apart, putting them back together, trying to understand how facts work together in sequence or how they relate to each other otherwise. The fifth level is evaluation. Do you feel that serving apple pie as a snack is healthy for children? Here we are judging information and evaluating or measuring it. The sixth level, and the most difficult and abstract level, is synthesis. For example, convert an unhealthy apple pie recipe to a healthy one. These levels are not simply different, they all build on each other hierarchically. In other words, synthesis is not only different from analysis, it is also more difficult and displays a higher level of reasoning. A fish can think at a knowledge level and might remember that an owner opening a box of fish flakes above the tank means dinner. My daughter's cat comprehends that the sun goes down, and that means she will be fed soon. She is displaying the second level of thinking. At the third level, application, your dog might be able to think of a simple game to play with a ball or a frisbee. After these three levels, the animals get left behind quickly, and we're in the world of human thought. You might also notice that this pyramid of cognitive levels fairly closely matches what some of your courses do in their structure. An academic writing class might begin with description or comparison writing activities, matching the lower levels of reasoning, through problem-solving and analysis papers, up to the most difficult tasks of evaluating and creating new opinions or ideas. A reading or literature class, or perhaps a conversation one, might also begin with the basic skills of recognizing words, through analyzing the arguments and claims the texts make, up to evaluating the texts or making new conclusions by using them to derive original information. These levels of thinking are likely to inform what you do in the classroom.
Let's talk about synthesis and how you can use this in your academic writing. Synthesis really means the combination of ideas to form a theory or system. Well, let's look at a different definition that might be more fruitful. Someone once said that synthesis means understanding the meaning of several things, such as articles or books, pamphlets, interviews, whatever. Understanding the meaning of these things and finding some common thread that goes through all of these materials that I have encountered. Example here on your screen of a very simple but effective type of synthesis. On my screen, I can see a picture of what looks like a Buddhist statue, something you can find easily in Korea. However, this particular statue has been composed of photos of many, many unrelated things. Instead of seeing the individual photos, you now see what looks like a picture of a Buddhist statue. This statue is not at all related to those photos. However, we can see this picture of the statue easily through the unique combination of these photos. That's what people do when they synthesize. Let's look at a different kind of synthesis, especially if you're doing writing or preparation for some of your courses. You have to pull together information from things you read, from research you do online, and then you have to put that information together to make logical conclusions or helpful new ideas that you then use when you write up a report. Ultimately, one of the goals of doing the synthesis, one of the reasons, for example, that your professors ask you to bring in a reference list that has 10 or more items, or when they ask you, okay, you need to read this, is that they want you to use critical thinking. They want you to expose yourself to various ideas, and some of the ideas may intentionally be conflicting ideas. I will show you what might happen if you were to read various texts and try to put them together and draw some new conclusions. Let's imagine that you are writing up a report on transportation. Okay, so let's say you found a few articles, and the first one, you were able to understand from this first reading that the airport rail link in country is running over its budget, it's losing passengers, and the whole system is in need of an overhaul. Changes need to be made. You've come to your next article, and you discovered from reading that the main idea is the airport rail link in country B is a smashing success. It fits well with existing infrastructure in that country, such as other transportation system. People like it, government likes it, employees working there like it. It's great. You've come now to reading 3. This country, country C, has a haphazard system. Public transportation is not well integrated. There are no airport rail links in most cities. Only 2 or 3 really exist, but most of the people in the country have to drive themselves or have a friend drop them off at the airport when they go somewhere. We've come to the big event. How will we put all of this together? It's clear that airport rail links around the world have had varying success. That simple idea is one way that we can connect them all. We can, of course, add detail. We could say, in countries where public transportation is already well developed and well used, adding an airport rail link is a logical idea. In countries where public transportation is still in development, airport rail links must be carefully planned and deployed, or they run the risk of costing a lot of money and being ineffective. And in countries where public transportation is not well established at all or virtually non-existent, adding an airport rail link is an illogical step. There could be other ways that someone might synthesize this. Of course, it depends on the main idea of your particular report. Regardless, it is possible to synthesize these readings, and this was a relatively simple example because they were all directly related to airport rail links.
We're going to close this episode with an example of audio synthesis. The video you're going to see now was made by combining unrelated YouTube video clips into a new piece of art. In other words, the creator took separate video clips of people who had never met each other and assembled them to make a new song. This involves some of the highest reasoning decisions humans can make, and it's definitely above the level of fish. The software technology used to edit these clips is interesting, but beyond that, think about how the creator did this, and how does it demonstrate cognitive synthesis.
Well, what can I do?
You could play that 16th note groove just straight. Going, you'll be amazed.
Okay. Do it again. All right.
We need more than one guitar part. There'll
Okay.
be somebody playing single notes, somebody playing chords, and they'll mix them together.
Okay. And let's just pick the mother of all funk chords. Let's pick a 9th chord.